Tech Snippets Today with Joseph Raczynski.
Irina, thank you so much for joining me today. What are your thoughts initially coming into this massive place, Token 2049, Singapore, 5 floors?
So first of all, Singapore is almost home for me. I used to live here. I spent 8 years in Singapore. I love the region and I love Singapore. So the energy is familiar. I guess the location is familiar. The energy is what the crowd brings.
Yes.
What I enjoy the most is one of my friends called it casual collisions.
Okay.
Which is when, in fact, amazing ideas, amazing synergies are being created, things pop up from nowhere, and I think this is going to inform the next few months of our, roadmap in special projects, experiments. I think that's the power of the community coming together, isn't it?
Totally. No, that makes sense. Okay, so I would love to hear a little more about your role, what led you to the wallet. Then we can launch from there.
Okay, sure, sounds good. So I'm new to crypto, so let me start there as a kind of a disclaimer. I used to be embedded into Web2 payments, fintech environment for many years. Spent a few years at Visa, then switched sides and worked at Grab, which is Southeast Asian ride-hailing app, at the time when it was building a super app. Then I spent a few years at the payments companies. And then at some stage, a few months ago, I started thinking about what did I enjoy the most? What was bringing me that, impact and sense of, reward, I guess. What was the best experience? And I realized I was building the super app. And that's why I thought about, where can I do that? And I think wallets in Telegram was one of those very few places that had this immense potential. And now we're here.
Yeah, excellent. All right, very, very cool. So that's a wild transition, although I've seen many of people in the traditional finance move over into crypto, into the blockchain space in general. So that move from Visa or Grab to this makes sense to me. What is the essence of it that for you right now? What does it feel like? Because you have self-custody wallets. I'd love to hear your description of that as you get into this space. With this particular wallet and the messaging component of that, because we're talking about how wallets are now going to be based inside of messaging, and messaging is ubiquitous at this point in time, right? So what does that feel like? What's happening right now, I guess, in your world?
So the opportunity, let's talk about, the opportunity there.
Yes.
I believe literally every single person in this room, in this space, is using Telegram for their day-to-day communications. So they're part of 1 billion people that are using Telegram, monthly active users, and that's the starting point, really. Now, what can you do with that, captive audience, with people that are spending hours and hours and open the app maybe sometimes up to 100 times a day?
Yes.
You can offer them a variety of different options. I think WeChat is a really good point, the reference point. It didn't export itself very well to the Western world, but I think Telegram is now, reinventing the WeChat model, but hopefully better and with the power of blockchain. Wallet, again, coming back, just building on my Grab super app experience. When you build a super app, the central piece is payments, is the ability to transact. Digital identity and payments are the backbone of every single new use case that you create. Whether it's gaming, creator monetization, people need to pay and be paid. And also whoever runs communities or builds projects, obviously do that because there is a revenue component in it. But then I think what we're now starting to see is there's probably about 15 million bots on Telegram. 11 million, I think, let me correct that, and 15,000 mini apps. There is a plethora of really exciting projects and experiments that are trying and looking to build new value for these 1 billion of Telegram users. A lot of them are using Ton blockchain almost like a connective tissue, connecting all of those things, and many of them rely on wallets as the payment component. Now, just one thing I wanted to clarify there. A lot of people, I think, are a little bit confused. Wallet in Telegram, what it is, and what do we do? So, wallet in Telegram it's in the name. It's a wallet natively embedded into Telegram. Some people will be able to find it in settings. We haven't enabled it in every country yet. We're gradually localizing, the experience, and people will start seeing it more and more. We have about 140 million registered users.
My goodness, all right.
Just because the friction is non-existent. It literally takes 1 click or 2 clicks
Right.
to activate a wallet. And one thing I want to clarify is there is actually 2 wallets inside it. There is a custodial solution,
Okay.
and we're gradually getting licensed in more and more places,
Wow.
rolling it out in, a lot of the countries, following Telegram's footprint. And then the second part is the self-custodial solutions for like the DeFi audience that don't want to rely on, anyone when it comes to money, their money.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Okay, it's great to have both those because there's still the degens or the traditionalists who've said, you know what, my keys, my wallet, I want to have control over that.
Precisely.
I get it, I understand it. Are there things that people have to worry about in this space, not worry about, but to think about with KYC and AML? Is that something that is jurisdiction by jurisdiction?
It is indeed, and again, that's precisely why our user has the choice. If they want no interference and full independence, if they want to be responsible for their own keys, whatever seed phrase, it's up to them. Ton Wallet is a solution available globally. We used to carve out US, but since July this year,
Okay.
US is now enabled, so basically everywhere apart from a couple of really restricted, like North Korea. You can't be using
Right.
Ton Wallet in North Korea. Custodial solution is jurisdiction by jurisdictions, probably about 50 or so countries.
So you had mentioned something about mini apps. Can you go down that path a little bit? Like, what's an example of a mini app?
Sure. One of my recent examples, in fact, I used it on Monday, 2 days ago, as I was flying here from the UK, which is where I'm based. I needed an eSIM, right? So
Sure.
I actually don't know whether my operator would offer me any roaming options. So I bought an eSIM, and the way I did it, I found an app called @Mobile. You just type @Mobile in Telegram, and you buy it with your Ton Wallet. And I just immediately got it. No extra downloads, no apps, no whatever like clunky experiences. 3 clicks and I was done. That's one example. There is quite a lot of other really interesting experiments. Obviously, quite a lot of games. I think Telegram mini apps has multiple. There is a few showcases where you can find. I think Wallet is by far one of probably the largest in terms of the user base, but there is a lot more that I think you can find.
It's an amazing example, and I remember using some of the mini apps years ago for different types of things. And sometimes it was agentic in a way, like an agent, you're working with that, and then eventually an execution on something, which is really cool. What are your thoughts about, it seems like stablecoins are exploding all over the world. The United States was sort of behind the times, and all of a sudden now things are moving very quickly. How does that play a role, or does it play a role within this space from your perspective?
It does, absolutely, and I love that there is a lot more conversations about stablecoins. Well, ultimately, I think I'm simplifying massively, but basically stablecoins are playing 2 really important roles. I love seeing my former sort of payments colleagues adopting stablecoins for B2B payments. I literally think that there's no payments company that is not implementing a stablecoin solution these days. And I think it's amazing because, TradFi has to embrace it for it to really have that mass adoption and penetration into the day-to-day. But the second use case that I think the wallet is supporting and is really important for us is enabling, utilizing like USDT, for instance, stablecoins just in your day-to-day savings life. Because I think you and I come from sort of the markets where we don't have to worry about huge inflation and whatever
Right.
currency volatility. But if I think for like the remaining 5 billion of the people
Yes.
on this planet, something may happen with their money. Sometimes overnight.
Right.
Sometimes you can lose all of your savings. So stablecoins provide that ability to manage your savings, rely on a much more stable, reliable asset type, and I think this is what is driving Tether's success. I think I just heard Paolo talking on stage that at least 35, I believe, % of the Tether's users are using it as a savings method.
Oh,
And
wild.
about 60 to send money to each other as a remittance method. So.
That's amazing. Just a random question that's kind of curious about is when you speak to people that you used to work with at Visa, are they sometimes mystified, or do you think that more and more people are starting to get on board to the idea of digital assets and that sort of commerce? Or do you still run into people like, what is this? What's going on?
Well, I guess if you ask me, I don't know, a couple of years ago, the answer would be different. But I think, yes, the world is waking up. It's taken a while, and I think it's a very typical thing, you know, like it's early innovators, early adopters. I think we're getting into the stage when it's getting to, we're past even the early adopters. We're getting into the stage of mass adoption. All of my former colleagues have now formed typically a good opinion. And again, like payments folks are very much bought into the idea. The technology is delivering immense value. I remember in one of my previous companies, we were trying to get money from Brazil into Europe. It was taking us almost a month,
yes,
just because correspondent banking is still unable to solve that problem. So yes, I would say that the Visas and Mastercards of the world are actually much more open-minded, and in fact are driving some of the conversations, which I'm very pleased.
That is wild. That's fantastic. Okay, I may have one more question. If there's anything else you'd like to share, please by all means do so. What does the landscape look like from your lens at this point? I know that X is apparently percolating with an idea of potentially coming out with a wallet. I also realize that I'm sure WhatsApp is probably going to right behind it if they haven't already done something or working on something. There's got to be a ton of competition. Clearly, you mentioned WeChat. WeChat sort of led to Charge for years. What does it look like from your view at this stage in terms of that landscape of all these messaging apps starting to work on it, which I think is great for everyone, but
I think what we're looking at this stage is people trying to address friction. And what the consumers around the world hate the most is actually that extra friction. The ability, the need, the necessity to download one extra app and register to an unknown and not know what to expect, I think is killing traction for a lot of the companies. So that sort of move towards integrating other services, including financial services, into X, I think is only natural. I believe what I'm seeing from X is a little bit focused on the US audience as opposed to the rest of the world, while in our case we probably cover the rest of the world.
Yes.
Or the US actually is really important for us. But in any case, I'm quite intrigued at that. I'm very optimistic about commerce and conversations and communication coming together. In fact, one interesting thing is that I'm also seeing the trend coming from another side. Spotify has just enabled messaging inside their app. So it's intertwining all of those different scenarios and use cases together. But I'm very optimistic about the space. I think we have a role to play. We will be experimenting and continuing to drive innovation in that space, removing the friction, making sure that we deliver clean, intuitive, easy experiences. But I'm also really looking forward to learning from the other folks in the same space, whether it's communication messenger platforms or others.
Perfect, wonderful. Anything else you'd like to share before we conclude?
No, but do come to, well, first of all, work with us. I think Wallet is an amazing distribution platform. 140 million is perhaps one of the highest numbers that I've seen amongst some of the recent platforms. And yeah, build on ton. I think it's
wonderful. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Tech Snippets Today with Joseph Raczynski.